Welcome to the Making Manchester Fairer podcast. Making Manchester Fairer is our city's approach to tackling the preventable differences in health and life chances between the people and communities that have the best health and those that have the worst health in our city. Our approach is all about working together to focus on the social conditions that affect our health. This is Manchester. We know the facts. It's time to act. Hi, I'm Dr. Cordelle Ofori, Deputy Director of Public Health in Manchester, and today I'm at Haveley Hey Community Primary School in Wythenshawe, and I'm joined by Claire Buxton and Neil Jones, who have been working together on one of our Making Manchester Fairer Kickstarter schemes to support children and families in different areas. So hi, thank you for inviting me to the school. It's really good to meet you both. Could you both just introduce yourselves and tell me a bit about what your jobs are and what you do?
Yeah, so hi, my name's Claire Buxton. I'm one of the acting deputy heads here at Haveley Hey. I am leading on the Kickstarter scheme in school. I lead across EYFS and support Key Stage 1. And I work really closely with Neil to deliver the support that he is, the interventions that he's delivering with the children, and also liaising with the task force team.
Great. And Neil?
Hi, I'm Neil Jones. I'm a teacher, and I'm here working with Claire and the others, the senior leadership team. And the teachers as well to deliver interventions for children who need kickstart with their writing particularly.
Great. Is that the bell for school starting in the background?
That was the bell for school starting. We're not in a studio, This is real life in school.
So Haveley Hey is one of a number of schools across the city where the families and the communities in the area have really been really hard hit, both by the pandemic and the cost of living crisis. And so the reason why we're working together with schools like yours is to really try and make a difference for those children and their families and their communities. Can you just tell me a little bit more about the scheme and kind of what you're doing at the moment and what you're planning to do? Maybe starting with your perspective a bit on it, Claire.
Yeah. So we're working with the task force of lots of different outside agencies. It's in its infancy at the moment. We've been the pilot school, so it's only been going since March. The first thing that we had to do was get a key worker put in place, and we found Neil. We really fell on our feet with Neil. He's been absolutely amazing. He's come in, fit straight into the school team, and made really good relationships with staff and children. We are also receiving support from speech and language therapist. They're coming in a day a week, and also an educational psychologist, and they're coming in a day a week as well, working with primarily the Year 1 team and giving them support with welcome interventions for children to boost speech and language. And the educational psychologists are working on something called Boxall profiles, where they profile the social and emotional needs and strengths of the children to work out what additional support and interventions we can put in place to really boost those good behaviours for learning so that children are ready for the classroom.
Right. And what's different about what you've been doing since March to what you would usually have been doing if we weren't doing it in this way?
Well, we definitely wouldn't have Neil.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have the funding for a qualified person, a teacher, to come in and be delivering such intensive support and interventions with a key group of children. Most schools can't fund that kind of thing. It's just, this really is additional intensive support. Yeah. So he's been taking the same group of children every single day and doing additional writing with them every single day. And that's really different. There won't be many schools that will have somebody on the staff team that will be able to provide that like we didn't. So.
And year 1, so is that 5 and 6 year olds? Is that right? And why do you think this is needed so much at this time?
So the 5 and 6 year olds, the Year 1s across the country, are what I believe are the most affected by COVID and the lockdowns. So when they were the ages of 3 to 5, particularly the ages like 3 and 4, they were really missed out on key milestones. They missed out on social opportunities. They might have been at home. Everybody's situation varies, but if you're an only child and you were at home for all that time, maybe with parents working from home or parents being at home struggling, then you've really missed out on those key opportunities to play, to share, to listen, even to have somebody to talk to. You know, lots of families were really, really isolated during that time. So that's why I think these are the most impacted, and this is where the support needs to be. And, you know, we could see that at the start of the year when the children came out of reception up into Key Stage 1. This cohort were like no other cohort we'd ever seen. They were not Year 1 ready. They were, you know, clearly, collectively and individually behind in their development because of the COVID lockdowns, because of them just not being in school. They've not had the same access to school that previous generations have had.
It's awful, isn't it? So you've really seen the difference in the impacts in terms of the way children of that age group would have usually been before the pandemic.
Yeah, and I think there's a real difference between like high school students or Key Stage 2 students accessing remote learning when they were at home. You can't replicate an early years education. You can't do, because it's based on the environment, it's based on the interactions, it's based on that language-rich environment and adult interactions and peer interactions, and you can't replicate that at home. It's just not possible. They need to be in setting to have that education. So it really has been taken from them.
Yeah, and I guess as well as the pandemic, you know, for some families where if you've got less money coming in and you've got a lot of other hardship going on in your life, it makes it even harder, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Is that something that you see a lot?
Well, definitely, yeah. If, you know, low-income families with additional stresses, additional health problems, mental health problems in the family, relationship problems, relationship issues, so many different things. I mean, there's so many factors to it, isn't there? Yeah. But when there's lots and lots of compounding factors, and not many negating factors, then it creates a much more severe situation.
Yeah, and one of the things that we're hoping we'll be able to do through this task force approach is, as well as all the great work Neil's doing with the individual children that we'll talk a bit about, also thinking about how we can support the families, the households for those children as well, so that we can start to support some of those broader issues as well through that approach. Okay, so Neil, could you tell us a bit about what you've been doing?
Yeah, so I've been taking groups of children out, or individual children out. So I work with reception children who are ages 4 and 5. And I've been working with Year 1 children, looking at what the ages are, 5 and 6. Yeah. Small groups, so groups of 4, like I said, individual children. And what we're doing is a real focus on writing, because they've not had the opportunities through the COVID to develop that skill. So I liken it to if you a child trying to learn how to write, they've got a lot of things going on at the same time. So I'd liken it to me trying to ride a bike while juggling and learning Spanish. If that was me, for children, they've got to learn how to grip a pencil. Yeah. They've got to translate what's being said to them, and then put that onto paper. There's a lot of things going on for a 4 or 5-year-old there, and my job is I've come in and just to break it down, make it easy for them, just to scaffold it. What scaffolding means, you support them with the resources that you have, where it makes it easy for the children to just learn one thing at a time, and then we bring it together at the end. And so, for example, one of the things I've been doing is what we call silly sentences. Okay. So you'll have a set of pictures, and the children with the piece of writing and what they do, they put that together themselves, and it can be really silly, like the tiger is baking in the cafe, and that's just. But what that does, it makes it fun, yeah. And they have a positive association with writing then, and that's the main impetus I'm trying to do, trying to bring to writing, is they've got to have a positive association, and they want to then come and write.
Yeah.
They want to come into it's fun. And so for the rest, I think if from such a young age, because it's crucial up until about the age of 7, children learn their brains are developing in a different way, and they learn differently after 7 than before 7.
And do you think that's one of the reasons, like Claire was saying, you know, for older children, some of the work was done online and done remotely, or was a bit more self-directed, that for this age group that wouldn't have been able to work at all, really, would it?
But they've already got those things in place, because
they've got their building blocks.
They've got their building blocks.
Yeah.
So these children didn't have those building blocks, because we learn through all kinds of ways. If you go into a reception class, there's things on the wall. There's constant they constant play. They learn through play, and they didn't have that opportunity. They were stuck at home. Sometimes if they were stuck by themselves or with just the mum and dad. Mums and dads aren't qualified teachers. They, that was thrust upon them as well, and all the pressure that came with that. So what we're trying to do is, this is one way we try and level the playing field for the children to be able to express themselves. And if they have that positive association for the rest of their life with writing, or as a means to express themselves, then they're going to achieve. And that's what we're here to do is to help children achieve and reach their full potential with whatever they choose to do in their life.
Absolutely. And how have the children responded to it?
It's been really fun, actually. I mean, it was a little bit tough at first, but what coming to this school, it's really well resourced, and I feel really well supported.
Yeah.
So it was a case of I would speak to the Key Stage 2 lead or Claire, and just I'd say, well, I'm thinking of doing this, and they'd straight away they'd say, yeah, we back you fully. And so it's given me time to work out what the children need with the amazing resources we've got here, actually, in terms of we use I can say it, can't it? It's a company called Twinkle,
right?
Which is we use a lot of online resources here, and you can. I'm thinking, right, well, I need something that's going to help structure their writing, and it's there, and I can draw from it, and that's where the silly sentences comes from.
Yeah, and that links to our phonics scheme as well, doesn't it, Neil? So we took on the Twinkle phonics scheme as a validated scheme at the start of the year. So that's our whole school approach. So Neil's linked in really nicely to that, to have like a double-pronged approach, because what they're getting in the classroom, they're then coming out and getting additional with Neil, which is there's parity between the two, and that's really powerful, that the children are getting repeated learning opportunities. Yeah.
And are you beginning to see an impact in terms of the difference that it's making for the children that you're working with?
Oh, absolutely. I'm constantly getting reports back from the teachers saying, well, we're seeing already in literacy, their main literacy class, that it's hard to explain without showing it, but what you're constantly looking for is a certain success criteria that are being met. So even just things like putting spaces between words and capital letters at the beginning of a sentence, or for a noun, or full stops at the end of a sentence for these children, that's a challenge for them, and they've got to internalise those ways to express themselves and conventions of writing. They've got to internalise that, and that just seems to be happening in accelerated progress. I mean, I'll give you one example. There's a little boy who I teach who was very reluctant to write at the beginning. He just getting his ideas onto paper was a challenge for him because of his motor skills. He's probably not had as much time to develop those motor skills probably through lockdown. And but now with a little bit of one-to-one or a little bit of small group work, he's really expressing himself, and we've had holidays as well within a few weeks.
Wow.
So it's again, it's about that positive association he has with writing now.
Yeah.
His whole attitude to writing has changed, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Completely.
Over such a short period of time as well.
Yeah.
It just shows just that bit of additional support, focusing on what somebody needs.
Absolutely.
A child needs, a difference that it can make. That's really something. And so as well as seeing the direct impact on the children's writing, have you seen any other positive changes as a result of doing this so far?
For me, I just see children, there's a confidence about them starting to build. I've definitely seen that in the short time of being here, and that it's hard to put into words, but their relationship with one another and the relationship with the teachers, there's a more of a settled feeling. They know that what is expected of them, but they also know that they can express themselves now, and there's a confidence. You see the confidence in the children, a brightness come from them. Whereas you could see at the beginning with many of the children, it was, oh my word, I've got to write all this. I've got to write a full sentence. Now they want to add to the sentence. They want to put in conjunctions and this kind of things. They don't know they're doing it, but they are. Yeah. It's amazing. So it's little and often every day. Learning for children, particularly of this age, it's little and often every day. I barely use negative feedback with children. It's more like 95%, positive feedback, because you can only build on a positive. You can't. I don't think you build on a negative. You build on a positive. They've got to have a positive association with what they're doing. I write feedback for them every day. I even photocopy it a lot of the time, so they can take it home and show their mum. And I read that to them every day. This is your feedback. So while they're doing their letter formations, oh, so and so, here's your feedback from yesterday, and it's, oh yeah, I've done really well there. I've used finger spaces, and I've used my capital letters and this kind of thing. Yeah,
it's a shame it's not on camera, because actually when you were speaking about the way that their confidence has been boosted, your face really lit up. It just shows, how excited and passionate you are about what you're doing and the difference it's making. It's brilliant. And what do you think? How do you think that's going to impact them, later on in life as they get older and things? The difference this might make.
Yeah, well, this comes back to this thing of leveling the playing field. We want to take those barriers away that can fall upon the minds of a child, for whatever reason. They happen for a myriad of reasons, don't they? But we want to take those barriers away. We want to unleash their creative potential and go into life feeling that they can do something with their life, and they've got the tools to do that. And I'm very passionate, but that's why I'm a teacher. It's just they want to, if they can go into life and just feel that I can do this because I've got these set of skills. Fantastic. What an impact in the world that will make.
Yeah, we know that literacy's a big barrier to people's success. If you've got poor literacy skills, then you've got less life chances. You're not going to get as good a job. You're not going to succeed as well as somebody that's got really good literacy skills. So that's what we're trying to do with these children, get in at this really early age and boost those literacy skills now for them going forward. To have a brighter future, basically.
Yeah, and in the public health world, we often talk about giving children the best start in life, and how that improves their chances of having, a better life, a better job, better health, living longer, etc. But I think what you've described really brings to life what that actually means, that, despite challenges that might be going on in their lives, despite lots of the things that are really difficult to do anything about, the work that you're doing with these children day to day is making a difference, giving them that confidence and giving them those skills that they'll be able to take with them later on. So that's really quite inspirational, I think. Have you got an example of something a kid has said, one of the best things a child has said when they've got something right?
I'll just say while Neil's thinking of something, that they absolutely love going with Neil when he turns up at the door to come and get a group of children, or some children are saying, is it my turn, is it my turn?
I get that quite often. There's nothing specific, it's more, with children, everything's very emotional, isn't it? So if you see them bouncing and they've got a bright, happy face, then that makes my day, really. It's wonderful, really. They know they're emotionally engaged with it, their heart's in it, and that's what we want. We want their heart to be in their learning. So
I think that's a really nice way to end. So before we finish, I like to ask everyone that I speak to about making Manchester fairer. What does making Manchester fairer mean to you?
I think we're a rights respecting school, and I think that you mentioned on the way in, you saw a sign that said all the children have got the right to be the best that they can be. We fully believe that at Haveley Hey, and that's why we come here every day and what we strive for the children, for them to be the best that they can be. And that, in terms of Manchester, in terms of this area, in terms of deprivation levels, doesn't mean equality, it means equity. It means giving our children what they need to succeed, not giving all children the same. That's what making Manchester fairer means to me.
Thank you, Claire. And Neil?
I think it's about levelling the playing field.
Yeah.
In all areas, the areas what we can provide for, that's level the playing field for them, and so they can go out into the world and be the best that they can be, and we bring down those barriers to their learning. So this is enabling us to do that.
Thank you. Well, thanks so much for having me in your school today, and for having a chat with me about the brilliant work you're doing, and I'm looking forward to seeing it grow and seeing the impact that it has on the school and the children. So we'll keep talking and keep letting me know how it's going. Thank you.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you very much.